That's how they're really going to be able to develop really epic new systems that will blow things out of the water, because who in the heck uses a horse and carriage anymore? Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode. So today I want to talk about why things are the way they are with cryptocurrencies and regulations, and why we should pretty much be expecting this, because in case you didn't already know, humans are cyclical. They tend to take a lot of the same kind of decisions, the same kind of cycles throughout history. So to prove this, I will tell you a little story, a little historical story. So let's see if you can notice the similarities between this story and what we're currently experiencing with cryptocurrencies. So way back in the late 1800s, the automobile was invented in Britain, and England understood how dangerous automobiles were. So they implemented regulations or laws like the Red Flag Act. And this meant that there had to be 3 people at all times available to operate a car when it was driving. 1 to drive it, 1 person to fuel it, and 1 person to wave a red flag. They also imposed very strict speed limits. Like something like 2 miles per hour was the limit for a car to be in an urban zone. So with this kind of restrictions on automobiles, and coupled with the fact that there were quite a few horse and carriage companies that were very happy to spread the word of the dangers of automobiles, this kind of development didn't exactly bear a whole lot of fruit in England. And then someone in the US by the name of Henry Ford came upon this idea of automobiles, and he took this idea and ran with it, because there wasn't that kind of regulation in the US. There also wasn't that kind of pressure by its competitors like the horse and carriage companies in the US. They weren't so heavy with the regulation also. Are you seeing the pattern here? So with cars, of course, England was right. They are dangerous, especially if people are very reckless in the way that they drive. There are also very easy ways for us as people, as drivers, to kind of safeguard ourselves against getting in an accident. For example, avoiding drinking while driving, or driving while intoxicated, or any other kind of influence of drugs. Also, you don't drive while you're preoccupied, not texting while you're driving, not driving way too fast, and also understanding how to be a defensive driver. These are all things that we can do to kind of safeguard and protect yourself against an accident. The same can be said for cryptocurrencies. I know that the government loves to say how these ICOs or cryptocurrencies need to be regulated under the SEC, under the securities law, and it's for our protection. All right, so here are the dangers of cryptocurrency. You can send coins incorrectly and lose your coins forever. You can invest in a scam. You can get fooled by a scam. You can invest in a project that ends up failing, but the good news is that each of these scenarios is very easily preventable without the need of a government or any kind of authority to step in and take us under their wing and be under their control, because it's not for our good. It's they want to control these things. So really easy ways that we can protect ourselves is by learning how to make a correct transaction for that coin, making sure that you're sending it to the correct address is a really, really easy safeguard. You can also learn the signs of a scam. Make sure that they're not demanding that you first send them money with a guaranteed return, any kind of a guaranteed return. That is absolutely, I'm going to call that a scam. Also with the worry of trying to invest in a project that will most likely fail, those are a little bit more tricky, and it's definitely something that takes a lot of time and energy to kind of get the feel for what the team looks like, what they're actually working on, how long they've been working on it before they're asking for money, what the actual use case is for the project. Those are some very important questions that you need to pay attention to and make sure that they have legitimate answers to. Even if all that comes through, there's still no guarantee. So one of the most major things that I think a lot of people are going to have to come to grips with when they're introduced to cryptocurrency is their greed. That will be the number one reason why people will disregard any kind of warnings or anything, is because they want to make money. They want to ignore all the red flags. So keep your greed in check, educate yourself, and most likely we're not going to need that kind of regulation. We can self-regulate in that way. But I just wanted to make this video because I know a lot of people want to have that comfort that governmental regulations can have, but the importance of realizing that how that can be very stifling for innovation. I know with some regulations can provide, a border, or they can provide some kind of a confines for a project to know their boundaries and what they're allowed to do and not allowed to do, and I guess that's okay. But what we should really always be striving for is permissionless innovation, because that's when things are really going to take off. That's how people who have these crazy big ideas of things like Bitcoin and different ways to apply blockchain technology, that's how they're really going to be able to develop really epic new systems that will blow things out of the water. Because who in the heck uses a horse and carriage anymore? No one. Everyone in every single country uses a car or some kind of a motorized device. It is global. Despite the fact that they are very dangerous, it has made travel incredibly more efficient and convenient for people. Also, think about the people who were the early adopters of automobiles. They were pretty expensive, probably pretty hard to figure out, and gasoline was hard to come by. That's also very similar to what we're seeing with cryptocurrencies. There's not a whole lot of easy on-ramps getting from your national fiat currency to the cryptographic variety. Also, as we all know, not a whole lot of merchants actually accept it. There's not a whole lot of options for actually using your cryptocurrencies as payment. But we can see how this has the potential, very, very big potential, for changing things in a way to make payments and make securing your funds very, very easy. I just want to encourage you not to be scared, to think of the Henry Ford of cryptocurrencies. Take the initiative. Go for the permissionless innovation. That's something that we should all be encouraging, permissionless innovation. Don't be running into the arms of regulators, because they don't have your best interests in mind. They are definitely looking out for their own self-interest. And the voices who are the most opposed to things like cryptocurrencies, I know that their most famous argument is that Bitcoin is used by criminals. Well, Bitcoin was only invented about 9 years ago, so what the heck were the criminals using before that? Anyway, it's important to keep in mind who is opposing this, why they're opposing it, and where their interests lie, because that will say a lot about their intentions. I know Elon Musk has been in the news a lot lately with his antics and how he's been tweeting up a storm and scaring off investors and all these things, talking about going private, and how the SEC first threatened to prevent him from taking part in any kind of a publicly traded company for the rest of his life, to now he is no longer the chairman of his board, but he is the CEO, and he probably can't tweet as much as he would like to. But it's just a perfect example of how someone as innovative thinking and forward thinking as Elon Musk is, okay, maybe he tweeted something a little crazy and it scared some investors, but the fact that they're stepping in and controlling what he does with the company that he's already done so much with and has invented so many cool things, it's a really obvious sign of the SEC and how they're not really interested in encouraging innovation or like pushing the envelope. They just want to make sure everything is all cookie cutter and under their control. So that's my little reminder for you today. If you enjoyed this, if you learned something, leave a like, leave a comment down below, hit subscribe to get your daily fix of all things crypto.